Rosa on the raids. Did he master Raids' move mechanics? No. But he was effective in using her kit, because sometimes it's about taking space. But he doesn't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
He's back on the sneaky boy, the old smoky guy, the ghost. He's on that Omen, which I always thought he was a pretty damn good Omen. So I'm happy to see him back in that role. And to see TSM finally get away from the Sentinelist comps and commit Hayes to a Killjoy is always he's pretty good too. And so let's do it. Let's get into it. I'm ready. I apparently have to wait 15 more seconds or so, but I'm ready. Are you ready?
I think everybody is ready to see this.
Okay.
It's the last chance for TSM to try and qualify, and one of few chances for this Version 1 squad to make a name for themselves. And what better way to do it than right at the end of the finish line, guys? The quarterfinals for VCT Challengers 3 start now, and it's looking like a play towards A.
I couldn't be more shocked at this type of play. Oh, Penny, though. He's shocking Hayes with that bullet right between the eyes, right away.
Turret's destroyed.
We are going to see a flanking maneuver already come in through middle here for TSM. They're already threatening, you know, as they're going to have to basically play for retake at this point after losing the entry and being cordoned off by these smokes. So talking about whether or not TSM can coordinate a way to get back on this site, as this is a great take from V1.
Yeah, a very good take and a nice play by player one to make sure that there was no way in for the flankers, and the wall still getting a whole lot of value. Wardell drops down. Ooh, gonna actually go up top, find the first kill. Zealous is now to fall. That's the Battle Sage down, so no ult pips for you. Penny still playing aggressive. Sheriff in hand, and Wardell low HP, but Wardell finds the shot here. Version 1 now on the back foot. It looks like quite possibly a shock dart queued on up. They're going for the defuse, and there's not a whole lot trying to stop it. Everybody's looking to just get mowed down, but Effie's on the way in, picks up a couple, but TSM secure the pistol.
Yeah, really nice retake there from TSM, especially being a man down right off the rip when Penny gets that initial Sheriff pick to kick things off. It was looking like a pretty nice take, but TSM were able to pretty quickly threaten that flank through middle. It kind of opened up some routes for them to start getting back in. Wardell and company start slicing their way through, finding some good connections with the pistol. Effie's tries to have a bit of a hero moment there at the end, but just too many obstacles in front of them. They're not able to figure it out, so they will go ahead and get the 1-0 start. We're going to see a pretty big force here from V1, though. I mean, they're going all the way in with this. Marshall, you know, a Bucky, SMG, like they're going in hard right now.
Yeah, they're just, and this is, again, the newer patch, right? This is a patch that everybody is playing on right now, even in solo queue, so you're not seeing the Stinger frenzy, I guess, for lack of better term. So the force is really interesting, and I think it does a whole lot to hurt the economy here, as it's a slower play again towards A, and Pillar just looking for some info. Actually going to spot some out, and now the cat's out of the bag here, Dust.
Yeah, it well and truly is. They already have a rotation as well coming in from Sub Rosa on the Omen. So they already have 4 players basically nearby as the spike is getting planted. In fact, it doesn't even complete. There was some disruption there. Wardell threatens the flank already through attacking spawn, but backs up while being broken here by the satchels. And again, they cannot get the spike down. Eventually, Hayes is going to get the spam on the Celsius through the smoke, and the wall obviously has now been just riddled through. And this is getting a little bit tough on V1. They might have to pull the plug, but they can't really back up because Wardell is cutting off that potential.
And so Rosa, nice angle. Ooh, player one gonna trade it back there. Sheriff in hand, really showing up for this Version 1 roster. But the numbers now get cut down to the last one. The Marshall in the hands of Penny. Not gonna be the hopper for the team, but the Marshaller in this round. Hayes finally gonna pick up 3 to close it out. And something that I wanted to ask you about, Dust, is I know there's a lot of hearsay about that. Or not hearsay, but here's some rioting, some light rioting about Sage on this map, because pistol round, that wall's great. But as soon as that wall can be shot down, what do you get out of that? What does your Sage now bring to the team over towards A?
It's kind of like a, I don't know, like a, I wouldn't call it like a smoke alternative, but it kind of does some of the similar things where it kind of cuts off an angle for at least some amount of time. It can also give you intel, like how many people are spamming my wall, kind of gives you an idea about personnel that are in the area. So it can certainly still have value. Obviously, like you said, it can definitely be taken down pretty quickly by automatic weapons, but it can still sometimes limit an angle, at least for some amount of time, to allow you to kind of focus on one particular area and kind of just pick and choose your battles, I guess you can say. But obviously a full save here from V1 means that not a whole lot is probably going to happen out of their end here, though they do at least get the 1 pick on Sub Rosa at ELO, but should be TSM cleaning up from this point forward, you would imagine. Though, as I say that, V1 are, you know, taking a couple of guys down with them along the way, at least maybe forcing a little bit of rebuying out of TSM. But TSM off to the hot start, 3-0. Looking pretty savvy thus far. And so I'm curious now with full weapons, what does V1 do here tactically? You know, is it? I feel like a lot of North American teams are still very stuck in like this set piece kind of meta, where they just kind of pick a site and they set piece it. You know, either early or mid round. I think Gen G is like one of the few teams that have shown the ability to like use some mid control and threaten tube and threaten kitchen and give themselves more options. But I don't think that that is really widespread yet in the region. But yeah, I'm curious to see what V1 brings to the table, as Vanity has always been known to be a pretty smart guy as an in-game leader coming from North American CS. So curious what he's cooked up.
Ooh, they're cooking up a couple of kills here over towards B. Not going to open things up 100% as Sabrosa still hanging out towards that site. But again, Valorant is the game of you get a kill here and you head over there. So I wouldn't doubt that we see a rotation coming on through unless he can find another kill. Two players playing towards mid as well. So they should be able to hear that rotation.
Yep.
Could it come on through? And there it is.
Yeah, I mean, they were able to drone at long B. They have 2 picks there already. They see that there's at least one more player there. They know that at worst case, there's going to be 2 players on the A side and very likely only one and like one drifting middle. So they're going to bounce back and they're going to go ahead and pounce onto this A site here pretty confidently. They, again, has so much going for them that it'd be very hard for TSM to reel this one back in. They do have one player on site. They do have Sabrosa flanking in from behind. And Cutler has actually found a couple of kills here, spending the smoke by screens. He actually gets it back to even numbers, and the spike's not even down yet. But that's a big kill from Penny to maybe break it back open here for V1. But this flank from Sabrosa could be everything.
If the flank that you mentioned is going to get sniffed out by Effys, but he's looking the wrong way. Now the odds are even.
Hello?
He finds another. Sabrosa cuts it down to the last one alive. It's player 1. Left all by their lonesome on the side, and Sabrosa on the flank grabs a 3K.
Yeah, I mean, the first kill from Sabrosa makes a lot of sense, but I'm so shocked that Penny didn't really react. I mean, he was kind of just leaving himself so exposed to Sabrosa flanking through. I think he was maybe paying attention to screens or something, but yeah, he just basically gave Sabrosa a free kill to the side of his head, and at that point, there was really no chance at V1 recovering. And now they have to go back to a limited buy here. And that's tough for V1 to just drop the ball in a 5-on-3 like that. I mean, you got everything going your way. And I'm not sure if Cutler's both kills were through that smoke or not. If so, it's a little bit unfortunate for V1 to kind of get sniffed out like that. But still, I mean, a little bit of discipline needed there to close out a round. They had a huge edge in the start.
Get out of my way.
And forcing up in that second round, it pushes their first buy all the way back to round number 4, and then their next one in round number 6. So on the back foot already is version 1 as the knives are going to be used. Sheriff's in hand. As it looks like another play towards A. Lockdown actually going to be used here, and not a whole lot to answer. Actually, nothing to really answer unless TSM want to go aggressive to try and break it down.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be TSM having to play for the retake at this point, which they're fine doing. They have the utility advantage. They had the firepower advantage. The ults are about equal here, I guess you could say. So they will go ahead and concede that spike plant and just try to work on the retake together. Kind of interesting. You are going to see them use the ult here from Sabrosa to get back towards attacking spawn to give them another angle, a flanking angle on this retake. And once again, Sabrosa is successful from this spot.
And now Wardell bringing up the rear as well. So Effys is going back to try and stop it, but surely he'll be cut down. Penny with the knives, able to cut one down himself. And just like that, TSM, Arsenal advantage, but it's up to the last 2 here. Cutler going to receive his first death, and now Sabrosa has to go nuclear in this round. Not only finding 2 kills, but a defuse, running out of time, and it's looking like version 1 will grab their first as Sabrosa gets cut down once more. A thrifty pickup there, and Penny falls on the end, but at the end of the day, hey, it was just the knives there.
Yeah, it was really well done from Penny. I mean, TSM looked like they were in a good spot there. They had to play for the retake due to the lockdown, but Sabrosa was able to get his ult off, get in behind, get a pick pretty quickly, set up a 5-on-4 retake, but then Penny just popped off. Zelsis did a great job holding drones drop down, and it really was just kind of just Penny making big plays with the daggers there. Once with the hat trick to get V1 their first round of the game, and it comes on a thrifty situation. So that's certainly nice. I mean, it's kind of a round that, yeah, you want to win. You're investing something into it, but the expectations aren't very high, and yet they net a profit. So let's see if they can build off of that now.
And an early tag, Hunter Shearer coming out. Not only, a double kill. It actually tagged 2 off the rip, and Wardell is worse for wear here. Very low on HP. Version1 grabbing so much momentum off that thrifty victory.
Yeah, that is a massive Hunter's Fury to get 2 kills that quickly. I mean, Hunter's Furies can sometimes be used just to kind of push angles off and limit what your attackers have to watch as they go in and look for entries, or obviously it can be used as a post-plant tool to knock off diffuses and kind of make it harder on TSM to retake. So to pop one early, sometimes it can be tough to get a lot of value out of it, again, other than maybe cutting off angles and pathways that your teammates don't have to focus on as they enter. But, you know, when you get 2 kills off the rip like that, I mean, that's basically the perfect situation. I mean, you really can't ask for better value than that. That wins them the whole round.
Yeah, it forces a complete save. TSM just completely get out of dodge to give this one up. And, I mean, you saw the credits. I think it was Wardell sitting on 300 credits. So this team, okay, I guess Drone it was, sitting on 300 credits here. So not really a great spot for TSM. We'll see what the rest of the buy is coming in from Hazed and Cutler to kind of help those 3 rifles. But, I mean, the go A every round, it's starting to work now for Version1.
Yeah, I mean, when you're going down to these types of early to mid-round set pieces, it all just comes down to trading efficiency, and it comes down to, like, communication and chaos, and just trying to work out when you want to take battles, when you want to push back, how you want to use your utility. It might not be, like, overly complicated, you know, strategy in the sense of coming up with, like, these elaborate executes, but it's about just the team play in the heat of the moment that you have to execute on, and V1 are starting to put together some nice rounds in that regard as they're trying to challenge him a little bit this time around. But Cutler will be the one winning that battle with the Bulldog there. Nice opening pick to kind of slow V1 down a bit, who were, you know, trying to be a little bit more diverse this time around as far as what type of map control they were looking for early on. Big Res, though, is going to get the map back.
That hurts because Penny actually tried to dash away, but his teammate was right next to him.
Ooh.
And I think it was Effie, so he ended up dying because the dash sent him nowhere. So kind of,
yeah,
you know, obviously an early death that you hate to see, but then it forces the res out. So now that Sage all out of the way and the Jet not going to be very healthy, but again, we go again towards A.
Yeah, but Sub Rosa has so much territory by himself now at B. It gets so much more flexibility for the rest of TSM's defense to, you know, focus on middle, be able to quickly rotate over to A. Like, as soon as Wardell spots something and maybe gets his pick, he's going to be able to call over, you know, 3 players who will be able to get there in the blink of an eye to help reinforce the site. And now they can even put a lockdown and force the fallback. We see Wardell getting a great shot there. Cutler trying to get something to go with the Hunter's Fury as well. He's going to get his tags also. And look at what it's accomplished. They've had the fall back, and actually they get 2 players detained.
Yeah, they were able to pick up the spike, but that is why they got detained. They had to spend so much time trying to grab that and get out. They get absolutely for it, Dust. They're out of time here. A couple of kills, but TSM just got to go back to their saving ways to pick up their 5th.
Yeah, it's great to burn Sage's res and then just lock them down and then crush them basically from that point forward. Again, a lot of it came down to the amount of real estate they were able to get at long B and just have Sub Rosa kind of anchored there. Again, it just gave them so much room to feel confident on being able to focus middle, be able to focus that lockdown on A site, and really just put the pressure on Version1. So great round there from TSM. And that's the problem. Like, TSM are starting to catch on to the trend here. And if you don't start putting some threat at long B, they're going to continue to have the option to park a player there and over-rotate, and then you're going to be all of a sudden stuck in a really bad time where brute force is going to be your only real way to victory.
Wardell's been doing his darndest to stop the brute force, this time playing a bit more aggressive past the alt orb there, and a lot better of an angle to spot out that jiggle peek, but it is going to be the drone, and Wardell will back off of this.
Look at it again, by the way.
We'll see how Version1,
They have this time they're anchoring the Rays at long B, but it still allowed them this really early rotation to A. Once again, their defense is going to be in a really good place before V1 are even really able to get insight and start planning.
A couple of smokes down, well, a handful of smokes going down, going to block the vision for now. Onto Wardell, that spike still hanging out as they try and get Zelsis as many alt orbs as they can grab. Wardell's actually going to go good for 1, so Effie's now off the board. No shock darts No recons. Wardell trades out his teammate, but Vanity's going to get one as well. On top of it all, Wardell's not done. He pops the knives, but the orbital strike pushes him out, and Vanity trades the kill. Now we find ourselves in a 2v2, and that raise that was once anchored on B is very far away, and now it's all up to Drone here on the raise. It's low HP, a Boombot, a Dream, and an ultimate. We'll see what the showstopper can get done, as Drone just looking to push right through the Molotov, finds the first kill. It's low HP on the other, and Drone closes it out.
Holy cow, I'm surprised he can move that fast with stones that big to just run through the Molotov like that in a really difficult 1v2. But that was really his main route to success, was to pull off something like that. Playing traditional, he probably just gets sniffed out. I actually kind of wish that Sub Rosa maybe had played a bit more passive than 2v2 to where he didn't have to make a big risk like that, but he did, and boy did he pull it off. Drone, again, one of the best duelists in the region, makes a big individual play there. Tip your hat to that man. He has been crushing it. And again, I think V1 need to start at least posing a threat on this side of the map. That's why you see a lot of teams play a Viper at Long B solo or some kind of lurker just to make the defense respect B as an option. Instead of that, they're just going to go heavy-handed at it. I guess that's the other way you could do it, Tanner.
Yeah, and Wardell is right here to answer. So one kill, make it a second, and B completely on lockdown. It's Sabrosa gonna find the third, and this is exactly why we see the go A all game strategy, because B is just not free. And more importantly, what a huge read as Wardell finds that last kill over the top of the box to grab the frosted tips of Effie's.
Yeah.
And Wardell, he's playing A the entire game, says, hey guys, I feel like they're gonna go B, and has a huge round for himself.
Absolutely, especially getting that kill on the penny. That's a really tough angle to get that guy off that boosted position. And that's the great thing about having an opper who's confident in being dynamic and choosing new starting locations each and every round, rotating in the mid round, like not necessarily having to just be some type of site anchor or someone who is really set in their ways and only like certain angles, to have someone who can go out there and be a playmaker and keep the attacking side guessing on where you're going to be. That can be such a thorn on the side of a strat caller trying to play around a dynamic opper like that. And as you said, it was a great read and a great result for TSM.
Now it's only Sabrosa, so we'll see how much he can get done. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the assist there from the operator.
Look at the rotation,
going to come down, but everybody boogieing on over. I mean, can you blame them? TSM, they know that when Version 1 commits, this is where they're going.
Yep.
Couple of kills traded back and forth. TSM on the back foot. Drone still has that ultimate available, so we could quite possibly see that showstopper. Paint shells onto the Sage. Zelsis able to sneak away, but only for a moment before being cut down by Cutler. Now in a 3v3, Effie's looking for the lineups. Player one has a nice flank here under tube as well. Nobody really peeking in this area, so maybe not expecting it. Finally, Drone gonna sniff that one out as they look to push the other two playing towards B long. And TSM, they're working against the clock here. They gotta go. And if you're Effie's, you can back up and you can play that Hunter's Fury, and it looks like that's exactly what they want to do. As the lineups come through, and TSM just haven't had an answer. Finally, one kill comes down. Now it is gonna be Effie's trying to take down the Boombot. Cutler just trying to find the kill, the ring around the Rosie, but it's all up to Cutler here, and you're out of time. You got to run. Hopefully he hangs on to the weapon on the way out. The brute force strategy for Version 1 gets it done again.
Yeah, indeed it does. I mean, you could tell that TSM had the read, right? Like, they know that V1, when they go, they commit. They're not really a team that does a lot of feints or fakes, or at least not yet in this particular game. And so they did make the proper rotation, but the key is that, one, the trading efficiency was on V1 side. They got the opening pick on Sub Rosa early. They didn't lose anyone in the process, so they were able to come in with man advantage. And the other big thing was player one holding that late mid control, being that late kind of flanking option on the retake. Even if he didn't get kills early on, he was that constant annoyance factor where you had to account for him coming in and blindsiding. And I think eventually he did just flank defending spawn and got a kill that way. So he definitely still had impact on the fragging department as well. So big round for V1, and that's a big entry on the Wardell.
And a Hunter's Fury. Sabrosa goes aggressive on it, though. An aggression matched with aggression. Brute force matched with brute force. They're trying to right their wrongs from that last round. And we find ourselves once more cut down to the 3v3, but the resurrection is available. And player one still playing out towards the flank, expecting Sabrosa to come this way. It is going to be a delayed flank. Zelsis looks for any res that he can find. Sabrosa's gonna get caught out, takes down player one who was holding that flank with the spike planted. They're playing pretty far off the side. I think Zelsis was looking for a res somewhere. Now playing quite far away, and the Molotov might be the only thing that's stopping this defuse from queuing on up. No, Vanity doesn't even have it, so they get it halfway. The res comes through anyways, and there's just nothing to be found. No one in sight. Drone's able to find a kill with the paint shells, and TSM grabbing 8th, Version1. They seem lost in that round.
Yeah, it felt like they were so wanting to get a res that they wound up just shooting their own selves in the foot, just trying to force a res. You know, like the res on Pipe would have been perfect because that's a guy who's inside the site with you, who's close by, and it stops you from having to like spread yourself too thin in the post plant with the numbers that you have left. But when Zelsis commits all the way basically at the back of A side, almost, you know, in attacking spawn, you're basically leaving Vanity stranded inside the site by himself, and they're already halfway through Spike Diffusal, so it just felt like the res was not worth it there to force, or you had to find a way to get on pipes and get that res off instead. They wind up, again, just putting themselves way too thin in the post plant there, and TSM take full advantage of that. And that's tough because it was a good round to start. They got a great entry to kick things off.
Well, and a good couple of kills to kick things off as the Hunter's Fury Cutler from A side is going to find a kill. It's Spike on the ground, and it's player one once more, all by their lonesome in the last round of the half. Got the alarm bot, he's got the lockdown. He also has a 1v3 right in front of him. Spike in hand, so he can look to make a play. That wall still going to be blocking off mid. At this point, he really only has to fight Cutler here, and he's going to find it first to contact, able to find the dink, able to find the toesies, and picks up that kill. Now Wardell looking to come right back from this flanking area. Pushed aggressively over towards Nest. Now might just find an angle dropping down from it as the lockdown gets queued up. It's going to get placed down, and Wardell looks to go aggressive. And it doesn't even matter. 9-3, we will go at the half. And Version1 on defense, Dust, they got to figure something out.
Yeah, that attacking side just really lacked diversity, I think is like the best way to put it. And it also lacked a little bit of, I don't know if you'd say discipline, but it just felt like their team play in those post plants at times was a bit disjointed. They had a couple of really convincing rounds that was really good. I think that the round that really got me was the play at B where they had, you know, their Killjoy lurking middle and kind of playing out that post plant very effectively. But unfortunately, this was nothing consistent. They really struggled to, you know, fine tune their strategy for the long term. And in the meantime, TSM constantly had the read on how they should rotate. They certainly seemed to have the superior firepower man for man throughout the bulk of that half as far as where the impact was happening. So yeah, they were just a better team through and through, and now, yeah, like you said, V1 have to figure out something quick here on the defense. Otherwise, this could be a very fast map one.
I will say for Version1, they're a team that you can't count out, winning 12 straight against Rise yesterday on Split. Obviously a different map. Now kicking things off early. Vanity gonna find the first kill onto Sabrosa, who seems back to be full form. Sabrosa top fragging here in this game and has been a menace for this TSM roster now that he's back on that smokes position, or more importantly, that Omen.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see Sabrosa on the Omen because he was always pretty effective on it. Like, there's definitely some guys in the NA scene who make themselves really impactful on the Omen. Certainly, like, someone like Nitro comes to mind, though it's definitely kind of a different style of play in comparison to Sabrosa on the Omen. So, yeah, definitely a guy who can make big things happen with it. And that's always nice to have that additional firepower in that slot. So we are going to see TSM trying to knock on the door of this B site here. They are a man down, and they're definitely getting stalled out a bit by some of this utility from player one as they're trying to get in here and get this spike down. But you can see V1's making a really good rotation right now. Again, they're already up 5-4. They're stalling TSM very effectively. They're getting it down to the wire on the clock, and now they get another one to their name.
With the spike planted, though, it's down to the last two for TSM. This would be a huge round for Version1 to be able to pick up. And they're one player away from doing it. They do just that. Now we see how TSM battles back. Do they force? Or do they hang on to their pistols? Either way, it's a fourth on the board. And again, V1, a team that you cannot count out just yet.
Yeah, that was really well done there by V1. They were a step ahead basically the entire round through. There was never a point where they let off the gas pedal. They're doing a great job just eating the clock, making TSM have a hard time clearing themselves forward. Obviously, that initial pick by getting aggressive at middle was huge and getting them in the right direction. They really carried the momentum well. And again, that was a round that they really had to get, right? If you allow TSM to get the double digits off the pistol and the economic advantage, you might as well kiss this map goodbye. Or you have to pull off something crazy to come back. Now, at least they have a little bit more breathing room to start that comeback effort.
It's a couple of sheriffs. There's Drone and Sabrosa hanging on to those ones. So we'll see how much they can get done. But that Bulldog from downtown definitely hurts quite a bit It is going to be that drone to sniff that one out, and the spike is actually on that side of the map, so we'll see what they decide to do with it as Sabrosa creeps on up towards A. This is an interesting, hey, let's play for picks. It's TSM playing slow but aggressive for picks over towards A. Sabrosa going to get spotted out. Maybe look to regroup. Nope. Unfortunately, he will find himself 6 feet under. Into the nether, Omen will go, and V1 again, looking to go back to their winning ways here. Obviously, not around to really write home about. Penny, though, from downtown, hanging onto that sheriff, saving up for the operator and popping the grapes here. Now cutting it down to the last three for TSM.
Yeah, I mean, this is a round that really never had any legs to it on the TSM side of things. Just didn't really invest anything into this. Obviously, they were a lot more concerned about their economy in comparison to V1 on their second round in the first half. So to be expected, Drone able to get 1 kill there onto player 1 with the sheriff, and maybe they could do a little bit more damage. They have 1 player kind of trapped over here in the corner and tagged up, but just not able to advance towards him there, as Effie and Celsius will cut them off. And so that will be a 5th round to version 1. So not bad, starting to kind of find their footing here on Icebox after a tough first half. But this is the real test right now. It's full weapons from TSM. You're on the bonus round for the most part. So this is the round you need to really put some weight behind a comeback possibility.
You can see the cogs turning here too. Penny was thinking about hanging on to the sheriff, can't buy the operator just yet, and instead opts into the vandal. A teammate will be able to grab that for him in the later rounds, but it is kind of a handcuffed buy, if you will. A couple of specters, a bulldog, a vandal in the hands of Penny, which is right where you want it if you're version 1.
And notice the difference already here, Tanner. Like TSM, they have something that V1 never had on their attack side. That's presence on the opposing side. Like, yeah, you might have your focus of some of your duelists and such on one side of the map, whether it be long B controller or ace, set pieces. But to have that presence elsewhere makes defenses respect things a little bit more on a default, to not have the opportunity to over-rotate or take a lot of gambles. And that's something, again, that V1's, I would say, hopefully learns from going forward, as it just gives TSM a lot more flexibility to play this way, and they likely have to handle like less stout defenses along the way because of it, as they are already getting some pretty big access to be here. A lot of V1 is kind of funneled over towards kitchen and mid side under 2, but now Drone even sneaking in around gets vanity.
And spots one out towards Snowman, knows one is up in kitchen. TSM having a whole lot of control outside of this B site as well with the information that they have. The shock dart's going to go through. Nice little angle there in the picture-in-picture. Unfortunately, nobody playing over towards yellow, and Drone going to get neutralized. So 1-to-1 we go across the board. And now it's version 1 playing against the clock. Penny going to be holding the flank, but not a whole lot to be answered there. As Wardell gets spotted out by the drone. Some Oaks go through, dashes on over towards yellow. Going to go up top, get some elevation, and find a kill here. Now the Hunter's Fury to come through, but Wardell is mowing them all down. It's all down to Celsius. He's out of time, he's out of HP, and TSM grabbed double digits back in the win column.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how much real estate they got in B without really having to take a fight to get it. I'm not sure what was going on with V1's defense there. I kind of missed a little bit as I was watching the Killjoy over on the A side. But yeah, just see that they were able to like get in some weird positions at B, and Drone even able to catch someone off guard basically over there towards orange. So that was kind of crazy. It set up V1 that had to play for a very difficult retake. Yeah, sure, that was their bonus round as far as firepower goes. Now they have the operator, they have the full rifles. This is the last chance saloon for V1 on Icebox, in my opinion. Like this has to go their way, otherwise I think TSM are waltzing away with this map.
Yeah, I think if you lose this one, the best thing you can fight for is going to be overtime, right? Because you're going to be
just force buying the rest of the game.
Exactly, yeah. So a pretty tough one here for version 1 to find themselves in, but an important one. And again, we've seen them battle back in situations where things were looking quite dire. It was 11-1 on split. Now, granted, that's a different team, and TSM is a different beast, one of the Titans here in NA, and one of the teams definitely to beat. Zephy's looks to grab some information, and it's all 5 members stacked up towards the safe site. TSM gonna go back to the brute force ways here, match some of that version 1 energy, and Wardell getting some early information and an early kill onto player 1. That means no utility from the Killjoy, no lockdown as well.
Right,
as Drone looks to get the plant. Effie's with the shock darts, just gonna go a bit wide, and TSM look to have this one almost all wrapped up. They're all corralled over towards this defender spawn.
No, you're absolutely right. This is really tough on V1. That's why I think Zelsis had to play a little bit safer to make sure that that lockdown is going to come into play. Or not Zelsis, excuse me, but just the Killjoy in general for V1. As we are going to see them still trying to come in as best they can with what they've got. And they're actually getting some nice frags right now. TSM starting to dwindle. Hayes and Cutler, though, finally had the big response, leaving it to Effie, who is sticking this defuse, though, and stopping him. And he is going to pull it off. I can't believe he's pulled the wool over their eyes like that. That is shocking and well done.
I mean, that is arguably, though, the worst way to win, though, right? Because everybody died. So you buy one round of breathing room, but your economy in
You're not out of the woods
shambles.
yet. Yeah, exactly. Like, the long-term problems are still very much there. You didn't really solve those, but at least you survive and you live to fight another day. But yeah, having to rebuy and it being a bunch of Spectres and a Bulldog, meanwhile TSM are fully loaded except for Cutler, that is a tough pill to swallow. Like you said, it's a victory, but it's definitely not the one that you want. Oh no.
Ooh. That was a little spooky. Now Vanity trying to sneak away. Boombot not gonna get too much there. Wardell gonna go wide on the op shot, but a nice Molotov to kind of deter things pushing over towards B. This time it's around the map. They've got the aggression, but the spike has crept up now on the ground. Drone has since retrieved it, but TSM, they're putting a lot of their eggs in this B basket.
Indeed they are, and now like mid is being threatened by V1. You know, they're having to kind of park a player there at 2 to try to cut off those rotations. It's going to be Sub Rosa. He has such an important role to play. Hayes on the comeback. He was that lurker at A, is going to come help reinforce Sub Rosa, holding this to the mid position, and they are winning a lot of these battles, but it is going to be an even 3-on-3 when it's all said and done in this next moment. Hunter's Fury in play, but 3 ults in play for TSM as well, including the lockdown.
Yep, orbital strike. No, smoke's actually going to be queued up. There's the lockdown as well. Wardell going to dodge out on the recon bolt. Penny to find the first kill. Wardell trades one back, so both Jets on the board. Here comes the showstopper, and now it's a 1v1. And again, Effie's against the clock here, has to find Drone, and is looking to just save on the way out. TSM finally going to move to 11, but it costs both teams dearly. 4 members dying, make it 5 for TSM across the board.
Yeah, it costs you around for both teams, but V1 is the team that's going to suffer more because of it. There was reserve cash available on Hayes and a couple of their TSM's members to still get a nice full buy going here. Meanwhile, V1, yeah, you don't want to give TSM map point for free, so you're going to buy what you can, but it's going to be limited in a big, big way. A couple of shares are going to be out for Vanity and Player 1. It's Spectre for Zelsis. There's only one rifle. It's going to be Effie's, who held on to the Vandal. So this is a tough time for V1. TSM are very close to the finish line. It's going to take a big effort from V1 to hold on. As we do see a little bit of a interesting dagger duel to kick off the round, but it's kind of one of those no harm, no foul situations, as no one really took any damage from that.
Not too much found from the Jets. More importantly, Penny only has the knives here. I believe it was a classic in hand. So once those knives are gone, not a whole lot going for him. Nothing really to write home about. As Player 1 going to use that turret to try and grab some info to see if TSM once more are looking to play aggressive. There are 4 members on the site. 1 member, Cutler, playing over towards that lurk. Unfortunately for him, there's not going to be a whole lot going on over there. The lockdown available. The knives are still out, but down to the last 2 is Penny, and has nothing to answer the turret, so just forced to back away, and it could just come down to the time here. No, Sabrosa gonna find the shoulder, Penny gonna fall, and now with the lockdown, Drone looking to go aggressive, pushes on into 3. Sabrosa is there to trade him back, but they go back and forth. The lockdown just barely out of range there, nobody to be detained. And Version 1 have to try and find the defuse. It shock darts, it's low HP. Hayes through the smoke, able to find the kill. The recon bolt, everybody getting cut down as TSM crawl their way to match point.
Yeah, TSM did a great job aggressing that screen position to where V1 could never really take the space they wanted early on with that lockdown, right? They were meeting resistance, they were getting traded. And yeah, they were eventually able to get in sight, but by the time they did, the lockdown had basically already run its course. And so TSM's remaining players who were sitting back at A never really felt that threat, you know what I mean? So TSM did a great job finding picks where they needed to kind of limit the impact of the lockdown, make sure they had main advantage at the end. Cutler still had shock darts available to, you know, stop any type of defuse from starting, and they could just kind of work forward from there. So TSM in prime position to take Icebox here. They have quite the lead. We'll see what V1 can do as they're trying to just make a really crazy play at middle.
And it works for once. Sabrosa going to be completely caught off guard here in this one, but that means a free A take, so we'll have to see the 5v4 retake for version 1. Strone looking to get that spike down. Again, full utility. The economy for TSM coming into this one was looking pretty good. Unfortunately for version 1, you just have to throw everything at it here as all 5 members corralled towards the back of this site, looking to find their way in. Turret gonna be spotted out. Wardell gonna find the first kill. That evens the odds, but there's the red. So Vanity gonna be back on the board, but Wardell sits him right back down. No entrance for you as player 1 trying to do their darndest to trade the kills back and forth, but Wardell looking for a 6K on the round, finds 3. Unfortunately, my math doesn't add up because they're down to the last 2, and a nice Sage Wall gets mowed down quite a bit, down to the last little bit. Wardell to find the ace on the way out, and TSM burst across the finish line.
Yeah, TSM are welcoming version 1 to Tier 1 North American Valorant with that game. That was the toughest opponent that V1 had faced, and they just looked a little bit lost in the sauce